Huh?
21 Pilots is one of the most successful bands to come out of the 2010s emo scene. If not the most successful. They've won Grammys, contributed to huge blockbuster soundtracks, and are held in high regard with bands like My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, and Panic at the Disco. Their last few albums have seen them crafting some of the most interesting storylines in rock and roll history. And now, that story is coming to an end.
What happens to Clancy?
What goes down in Dima?
And does this album live up to Trench and Clancy? Let's find out. Hello and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I'm Trevor and I am eternally uncool. I make videos about music, music culture, and anything that interests me. But mostly music right now. So if that sounds like something you'd be into, then I highly recommend subscribing to the channel and watching the rest of this video. For the past 10 years, 21 Pilots have been telling an overarching story of Clancy, Nico, Dima, and a bunch of other things that I personally haven't fully grasped yet.
What do you want from me? I was a D student.
I'll do a whole video about the extended TOP lore, but not today. That would just be too much. The fact that they've stuck to this storyline and these characters for so long is actually kind of impressive. It's like Coheed and Cambria and all of their albums. Fans have become invested in these characters and this place and this story. And now,
It's over.
21 Pilots has now released their 8th studio album, Breach, which concludes the story that they've been telling for over a decade. And if you thought Clancy was highly anticipated,
You ain't seen nothing yet.
is this album a good ending to this chapter in the band's career? Is it good in general? Who knows? What I want to do today is take a look at Breach. Review the songs, rate them out of 10, talk about what I like, what I don't like, and then give the album an overall score. I've been waiting for this one, I'm super excited. I got the vinyl and the CD. You know, I hope I'm not let down. With all that being said, grab a drink, grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's get into the review. It had been almost a year since the release of Clancy that 21 Pilots announced that they were working on its follow-up. Fans were immediately ecstatic. New 21 Pilots music?
Hell yeah!
A lot of the lead up to this album felt like it heavily referenced Clancy. Which makes sense, seeing as this is pretty much a direct sequel to that album. Even the album covers to both albums are pretty similar. You know, Tyler and Josh on a red backdrop, Tyler wearing the Clancy balaclava, and even the singles they released during the lead up felt kind of similar to the singles that they released with Clancy. Kind of like they were sister songs. The Contract feels very similar to Overcompensate. Both songs stick to TOP's usual style and formula, while also bringing in something new. A sound that signals a kind of new era. And Drum Show definitely has the same garage rock vibe as Next Semester. They also released a trailer for the album called I Am Torchbearer, which feels like a sequel to the I Am Clancy album trailer rollout that they did for Clancy. But this time it was done from the point of view of Josh Dunn's character in all of this. Torchbearer.
I am Torchbearer, and I will not give up on you.
And finally, on September 12th, the same day as the album's release, 21 Pilots released the music video for the first track, City Walls, which also serves as closure for the lore. And this video is just... You know what? I don't want to ruin it. Watch for yourself. After this video. Dude, I am so tired. I wake up at 3 a.m. The album opens with City Walls. We heard the beginning of this song in the Torchbearer teaser. We didn't get too much from that teaser, but it was enough to make us want more. And when we did get more, we got probably one of the best intro songs of any 21 Pilots album. The opening of this song includes like vocals that are kind of chanting this whoa, whoa, over an instrumentation that kind of reminds me of Stone Temple Pilots a little bit. Anyone else getting that? Tyler's vocals kick in and it feels like we're transported back to Blurry Face era 21 Pilots. And that feeling is elevated with references to Heavy Dirty Soul, Holding On To You, and Goner. I think those callbacks are so cool, especially with the context of this album being the ending to the lore as we know it. This track really sets the tone for the story we're about to be told with this album, and Tyler really does a lot to convey Clancy's inner struggle. Overall, great introduction to the album. Gets me ready to get back into the story and see how it all pans out. 10 out of 10. The second track is called Raw Fear, in all caps like MF Doom. And this song is about living in a state of anxiety with a kind of enemy after you, which I can only assume is how Clancy feels about Nico. For a song called Raw Fear,
In all caps.
I thought this was gonna be heavier. But instead we get a kind of chill indie synth track. And I'm not complaining. But the title just gives off like, Bring Me the Horizon vibes, you know what I mean? I like the inclusion of the screams throughout the song. Apparently that was Tyler's daughters. Wonder what he had to do to get them to scream.
That's it. No more Labubu's.
The contrast between the sunny instrumentation and the lyrical themes about fear and anxiety really work well together. It's one of the things 21 Pilots is really good at, that juxtaposition. 9 out of 10. Drum Show is probably one of my favorite songs on this entire album. It's got a lot of energy, a lot of passion. Josh plays his ass off, and Tyler kills it with that bass line, as well as every other instrument in this song. The chorus is so fucking catchy. I've caught myself singing it at random points throughout the day when I'm at work. It's kind of a vocal stim of mine at this point. And the inclusion of Josh's vocals on this track really cement it as one of 21 Pilots' best songs. Also, the fact that it's a song about Josh, written by Tyler, is just a really beautiful thing. The admiration he has for his friend and bandmate is just really admirable. If I could give this an 11 out of 10, I would, but legally I can't, so I'm just gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Garbage is a really nice piano-led track. It leans more into the indie rock side of 21 Pilots sound, which I've always personally enjoyed. From what I could gather, this song is about frustration, you know, feeling like garbage, and how this affects all the people around you. There's also maybe some themes about struggling with your faith. You know, there's a line, maybe you don't fix it and you like it this way. Can only assume that's about God. Or maybe I'm interpreting that wrong. There's a very strong possibility about that too. Either way, this song is a really beautiful listen. It's just such a nice, understated track. 10 out of 10. The Contract was the lead single off of the album, so it's the one we kinda had the most time to kinda sit with and listen to and enjoy, form our own opinions about. It's obviously great. It mixes everything they're good at. Also, did you know that The Contract was co-written by Yungblud? Why aren't we talking about that more? 10 out of 10. Downstairs is a song that has apparently just been sitting around for like 14 years on Josh Dunn's laptop. The song talks about a metaphorical downstairs, where the narrator hides his beliefs and emotions from the world. The song is really atmospheric. It kind of reminds me of something from the Postal Service with its synths and electronics. And the chorus really picks everything up. The chorus makes this whole thing like 10 times more cinematic. It really reminds me of Blurry Face era, or maybe even Vessel era. 10 out of 10. Robot Voice surprised me from the very first note. I said that Downstairs had a Postal Service vibe to it, but this one cranks that influence up to like 11.
11, 11,
and most of
11.
From the instrumentation to Tyler's vocals to the ad-libs, This song just really reminds me of like classic mid-2000s synth pop. 10 out of 10. Center Mass opens with this really atmospheric, record scratching, crackling popping that I'm just a sucker for as a fan of vinyl records. There's also some sampled voices that is a really cool addition before kicking into some of the most interesting verses that I think have ever come from Tyler. He talks about loss, vulnerability, and making yourself smaller in the face of pain. There's also themes of anxiety and self-protection, something I feel I can relate to very strongly. I'm a very anxious person, if you couldn't tell. I really like the sound of this one. It's got a bit of a jazziness to it. And Tyler's rapping is some of his best, in my humble opinion. 10 out of 10. Cottonwood is a very hard song to listen to. Not because it's bad, but because of the subject matter. This song was written about Tyler's grandfather who passed away earlier this year. And the title comes from his grandfather's favorite kind of tree, the cottonwood tree. Which, I mean, look at that. That's a great tree. As someone who has lost all 4 of his grandparents, with the last one also being earlier this year, this song really hits me hard. The way Tyler talks about looking back on the past is really relatable to me, being such a nostalgic person that I am. And the line, "You tore me up more than you know," just fucking wrecks me. It's a good song, but I don't see myself coming back to it very often unless I really need a good cry. 9 out of 10. One Way brings the mood back up, at least sonically. The song is about the struggle between ambition and limitation. How inner doubts kind of just kill freedom. It's very introspective, like most of T.O.P.'s music. But it's set against this synth that makes you want to dance. Kind of reminds me of Lavish from Clancy. 10 out of 10. Days Lie Dormant is definitely a vibe change from One Way. It kind of feels like a mix of Drum Show from earlier in the album and Midwest Indigo from Clancy. Very 80s inspired synth and indie pop vibe. The energy is a lot higher and brighter, which is somewhat in contrast to the lyrics that talk about homesickness while on tour. While not entirely relatable, I've never toured with a band, I can still relate to missing someone who is at a distance. 10 out of 10. Tally sounds like the kind of song that plays as you're riding into battle. It just has that kind of victorious sound to it. I'm sure that was probably the point, seeing as this is the second to last song. A lot of people think this song means different things. No one can really agree on a meaning. Some people think it's Clancy's final apology to Torchbearer for betraying him. Others think it's about Tyler wanting to isolate himself and not meeting fan expectations. And some people think it's about hurting a close friend and then just having to cut off that entire relationship because you just can't mend fences. Heavy stuff, I know. Sonically, the song has a very interesting sound. From the battle vibe to the pounding electronics in the verses. This is probably one of the most adventurous songs on the entire album. I could definitely see myself coming back to this one. Feels like a good pump-up song, despite what the lyrical content might be. So I forgot to give this one a score, so I'm just gonna give it 10 out of 10. Intentions is the final song on Breach. The one that wraps up not only the album, but the lore as a whole. And I think it's kind of a perfect close. I mean, it opens with the line, "I'm starting all over again," which feels like they're not done telling a story, but they're done telling this particular story. You know what I mean? The whole vibe of the song just feels like the final scene in a movie. Torchbearer is leaving Dima, he's leaving the old Clancy behind, and he's off to find the next one and start this whole process over again. It's kind of like an Ouroboros. It's bittersweet and kind of sad, but there's still some hopefulness deep down. 10 out of 10. I think Breach is the perfect ending for the story that 21 Pilots has been building up all these years. I think it took what made each of the previous albums unique and interesting and blended it all together into something fresh but also familiar. They managed to bring the story to a conclusion that I don't think a lot of us saw coming. Or at least, I didn't see it coming. It was cinematic, it was satisfying, it was pretty damn near perfect. Overall, I think Breach is worth the hype. I think it did everything right, production-wise and sonically. The story kept me invested, and I honestly have nothing negative to say about the songs. If I were to score this album, I would give it a 9 out of 10. It was great, and it makes me excited to see what the band is gonna do next. What did you think of Breach? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Am I getting any better at reviewing music?
Don't answer that.
That's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then I highly recommend smashing that like button and sharing this video with everyone you know. I am a small, independent content creator who does everything on his own. And I'm really trying to grow this channel, so every like, every comment, every share, any interaction at all really helps me out a lot. Also, they have like this hype button now on YouTube videos. I don't know if it's on any of my videos, but if there is a hype button, then hype this video. I don't really know what it does, but try it. Let's see what happens. I'm also really trying to grow my Instagram, so if you want to follow me there, you can. But with all that being said, thank you for watching. As always, I'm Trevor. Stay uncool. And that's the end of the video. Goodbye.